Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mouthing Off with Mike Wrestling podcast. Coming at you here, not only on the audio side on Spotify, Apple, fill in the rest when it comes to the audio platforms, but we are back on YouTube here for this very special AEW Full Gear 2023 recap reactions. And oh boy, do I've got some reactions for you from some of these matches that we saw Saturday night from the Kia Forum in Los Angeles, California. So without further ado, welcome back to Mouthing Off with Mike. Let's jump into the results, the recap, the reactions, a little bit of what I got to think about what happened at Full Gear. We're going to start with the buy-in matches. There was 3 of them. Then we're going to transition right into the main card for Full Gear. So stay tuned. You're in for a wild, and maybe a little bloody ride here. Maybe a little black and white ride. Stay tuned for this episode of Mouthing Off with Mike. Welcome in to the Mouthing Off with Mike AEW Full Gear 2023 recap reaction. So you heard me say it in the intro. We're going to start off with the buy-in matches. The first of those 3 buy-in matches here from Full Gear is going to see Ring of Honor World Champion and New Japan Pro Heavyweight Open Strong. There's a ton of adjectives there. Champion Eddie Kingston, the Mad King, defend the Ring of Honor World Championship against Jay Lethal. Now, these two have some history. They've known each other for a long time when it comes to the wrestling business. And they went out there and they had themselves a pretty solid little match, I have to say. For the very first match, for Full Gear, for the crowd still filing in. Solid match. I enjoyed it. Eddie Kingston retains his Ring of Honor Championship. And the ending of the match saw Ortiz come out. And it looked like Ortiz may not have been in Eddie's corner for quite some time. But Ortiz, in fact, picks up Jeff Jarrett's guitar, cracks it over the head of Sanjay Dutt, distracting Jay Lethal in the process, and the Mad King retains his Ring of Honor World Championship. Now, later on Full Gear, and something I'll get out of the way now since we're talking about the man, is that Eddie Kingston is going to be in the Continental Classic, which is essentially going to be a tournament. It's graded by points for AEW, and it starts on Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That tournament is going to culminate at World's End on Long Island, December 30th. Now, Eddie Kingston announced that throughout the tournament, he's going to be putting both of his championships on the line. And at the conclusion of the tournament, the winner will be crowned the inaugural Continental Champion. So you essentially have the ability, if you're in this tournament, to come out of this as a Triple Crown champion, holding a title for Ring of Honor, New Japan, and AEW. Now, there's a little bit of some lines that are a little blurred here because how does that realistically work? What if Eddie loses? Does that mean that person wins the title? And then that person, if they lose, then they lose the title to that person and so on and so forth. So are they going to be swapping hands a few times throughout this tournament? Or does this essentially paint the picture for everyone that Eddie Kingston is going to make it to the finals? I don't know. I'm going to let it play out, but I'm excited to see this dynamic, especially, now knowing that there are 3 titles on the line and that the winner of the Continental Classic will in fact become the Continental Champion. So another new title for AEW, and I believe, if my math is correct, and you guys can quote me if I'm wrong, I believe that would essentially, across the 3 brands of WWE and then with, the shows with AEW, that would even the amount of titles that AEW has with what WWE has. Now, quote me if I'm wrong, but I think it's fairly very close, that margin. The second match on the Full Gear buy-in is going to see the Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli take on the House of Black, Buddy Matthews. And this was another solid match. Now, do I feel this belonged here on the pay-per-view? Yes and no. I'm never going to complain about matches. This just felt and screamed like a great opening match for Dynamite. Give it some time. Obviously, it got time, with the buy-in for Full Gear. But overall, a solid match here. Claudio gets the win. He actually taps out Buddy Matthews. So this is probably going to set up, more than likely, the House of Black, Blackpool Combat Club rivalry. At least I hope so, because I think that's something that we really haven't gotten to see between these two dominant factions on AEW, and I think it would make for some really damn good wrestling. The final match on the buy-in is going to see our scumbag, ladies and gentlemen, MJF, defend the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. And we know Adam Cole's out with an ankle injury. We know that he's not unable to defend the titles with MJF. So who is MJF going to find as a tag partner? We know he doesn't have many friends. We know that this Devil faction took out the Acclaimed, really his only friends outside of Adam Cole. So who could it be? We know Samoa Joe is vying for a title opportunity, and he's willing to help Max, and he does, in fact, help Max. MJF agrees to it with Samoa Joe that down the line, Samoa Joe will receive a AEW World Championship match for helping MJF defend the titles against the Gun Club, Austin and Colton Gunn of Bullet Club Gold, the Bang Bang Gang. Guns up, folks. Now, really good match here, but it wasn't because of the match itself. It really was in part to the angle that they did at the end of the match. Now, MJF and Samoa Joe are able to retain the Ring of Honor tag titles. Adam Cole makes a surprise return, kind of helping them get the win here against the Gun Club. Samoa Joe actually wins the match for the team itself, but after everything's finished, Samoa Joe gets on out of there. His job is done. He gets himself a world title shot down the line. As for MJF, he's left with Adam Cole, who's obviously hobbled. He's got a bum ankle, so not really going to be much of a backup here for MJF. The Guns take advantage of it, and they beat the living piss out of MJF, even taking the chair, wrapping around his leg, stomping on it, taking out his leg. Now, he is in fact stretchered out of the arena to the back into an ambulance, where he yells at Adam, Promise me, Adam, that you will not let them take my world championship. So that's how we go into the main card of Full Gear. On this cliffhanger, is MJF going to defend his title in the main event tonight against Jay White? Adam Cole's back. What does that mean? Who's the devil? Like, the whole thing was, the overarching thing was like, maybe we're going to find out who the devil is, but we don't even get that answer. So it's going to be a slow burn. And oh boy, do I have some thoughts on that in the final mouth-off. So let's get into the Full Gear main card now, and let's take a look at how everything broke down. First match we're going to take a look at on the main card for Full Gear is going to see a trios tag team match. The team of the patriarchy, Christian Cage with his new adopted sons, Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus, taking on longtime friend, now turned bitter enemy, the Rated R superstar, Adam Copeland, Darby Allin, and Sting. Now, I have to say, this was one of the hardest entrances I have seen in wrestling this year. Edge with half his face painted, Darby with the classic face paint, and of course, Sting with his face paint. They just looked so cool. The black and the white wrestling gear, they looked so badass. Christian himself got a children's choir to hum his entrance theme, and that was just absolute mega villain vibes. We know Christian, is the patriarchy of AEW. He's out here. He's adopting kids left and right. The man is doing a service like no one else can do. I absolutely love this Christian Cage character arc that he's got going on. This was a fun trios match to kick off the show. Was a little puzzled by it. I expected them to start with something else, but this was a great show. Got the crowd invested. The crowd was singing Edge's theme song even after it was cut. So loved the vibes overall. from this opening contest. Edge, Darby, and Sting get the win here against Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. And that's due in part to Christian getting the hell out of Dodge when he basically has to lock it up with longtime friend Edge. So love that little subtle detail of storytelling. Christian and Edge have yet to face off here and fight in AEW. Freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy is going to defend his international championship against Jon Moxley. Part 2. These two have already faced off. Mox got the better of OC the very first time. Mox would become the new international champion. He would then lose that belt to Rey Fenix, who, during the match, Mox was concussed, dropped the title to Phoenix. Phoenix was in turn hurt later on. He, in fact, then dropped that title back to OC, and here we are. This was a great match, let me tell you right now. I had a feeling that this match was going to really hit because Mox has been able to bring something different out of Orange Cassidy that we've seen, since his time in AEW. We're used to seeing that, sloth style, quote unquote, but we've gotten a more aggressive, more intense side of Orange Cassidy since him and Moxley have been beefing, essentially. Good match overall. Mox loses clean. So Orange Cassidy, 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. No shenanigans, no antics. This shocked me, to be honest, because I thought Mox was going to regain the international championship. But Orange Cassidy really is the man for the job. He takes that belt to another level. He constantly defends it. And I have no doubt that this title run, his second title run with the international championship, is going to be just as good as the first run, if not probably better. Ladies and gentlemen, the best women's gimmick in professional wrestling right now in AEW, Timeless Toni. And ladies and gentlemen, Timeless Toni is going to take on women's champion Hikaru Shida. And this is Timeless Toni's Hollywood movie premiere, the culmination of the silent pictures that we have been seeing from her the last couple weeks. And let me tell you, I was highly invested in this match. I was a little awkward at times for my liking, but, it happens in pro wrestling. It worked because that's just kind of how Timeless Toni and her gimmick kind of plays out. She ends up hitting Shida with the shoe. Shida kicks out. Timeless Toni even takes off Shida's own shoe and tries to hit her with it. She stops it. In turn, the ending of the match is going to see Toni Storm place what I can only describe as a little metal makeup dish, something, tray from her little assortment of items that Luther, her butler, brought out in the match. She sticks it in her backside. She puts it in her shorts, in turn setting up her infamous hip thrust in the corner where she hits the hip thrust, the old booty bop with the metal plate to Shida's face, knocking her out, and thus in turn becoming a 3-time AEW Women's Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, the movie premiere was an absolute success. Now, as for that spot at the end, may not have been an absolute success, but honestly, it was funny because of Timeless Toni's gimmick. She made it work. She is now your AEW Women's Champion, and I cannot wait to see what kind of pictures we get from her. Her little silent films, Wednesday on Dynamite, her celebration. I love everything about this. The black and white effect, her having a butler, her at the press media scrum, writing a handwritten letter sealed with her kiss at the bottom for Tony Khan, excusing her from the media scrum. Hilarious stuff all around. This is clicking on all levels for me. Stay tuned to Dynamite to see the fallout from this and see where Timeless Toni takes this character from here, because I absolutely think she's crushing it right now. We've got ourselves a ladder match here on the Full Gear match card, and that ladder match is going to see Big Bill and Ricky Starks defend their AEW World Tag Team Championships against LFI, Rush Andralistico, FTR, and the Kings of the Black Throne, House of Blacks, Malachi Black, and Brody King. And let me tell you something about this ladder match here. This ladder match was absolutely phenomenal. Chef's kiss. I loved everything about it. We have seen hundreds of ladder matches, but yet these men were able to do things in the ladder match that we have yet to see in past ladder matches. I absolutely loved it. So many unique spots. Brody King and Dralistical are absolute madmen for taking this bomb through the ladder. It was absolutely gnarly. I loved every second about this match. I truthfully thought the House of Black was going to win this match, but after an insane fight from all of these men, Ricky Starks and Big Bill retain their tag team championships, and they are on a crash course for the winner of the Young Bucks and the Golden Jets, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. We'll know who they're going to face later on here in the co-main event of Full Gear. But man, that ladder match, I highly recommend you go back, you check it out if you haven't seen it. Do the replay for the pay-per-view. That match and the Texas Death Match were worth the price. This whole Full Gear card was fantastic. I loved every second of it. So shout out to the wrestlers, shout out to the creative, shout out Tony Khan. Great Full Gear pay-per-view here. If you heard my AEW Full Gear predictions, if you heard, my proposed finish of this match for the TBS Championship, which saw Julia Hart take on the champ Chris Statlander, take on Sky Blue, I had been predicting and fingers crossing that the finish of the match was going to involve the Mist. That did not happen. We did not get any Mist in this three-way, but we did get a new TBS champion, and that new TBS champion is Julia Hart. The house always wins, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you recall Wrestle Dream, I had said, listen, Julia Hart's probably going to beat Chris for the TBS title, but there was some stuff going on outside of wrestling. Julia was getting married, so I don't think they wanted her to drop the title to Julia with that going on. Gave her some time off. She came back, got right back in the TBS title picture, and in fact won in this great three-way match between these three ladies. Like, let me tell you, Timeless Toni and Sheeta was a good match. It was a little awkward at times, and we talked about it earlier. It was a solid women's match. There's only 2 women's matches on the entire card, including the buy-in. So there was a lot of focus there for me on those 2 women's matches. This three-way knocked it out of the park. These 3 ladies tore the house down. Chris Statlander coming out, rocking the dodgeball, Globo Gym-inspired fit. Another tribute to, I think, her favorite actor, Ben Stiller, at this point. Julia Hart looking badass in red with her sick-ass entrance. Absolutely love Julia Hart's presentation since joining the House of Black. And ladies and gentlemen, Sky Blue, get rid of that EDM house music entrance theme. She's got a heavy metal entrance theme, a whole new aura, a whole new vibe, a whole new attitude. The eye makeup is coming further and further down from the mist that she experienced from Julia Hart. Now, it was spoken about it in the press conference, and one of the journalists had asked, what does the mist mean? Julia really couldn't give you a formulated answer. I think she's just maybe tired from the whole match and the scrum and everything. It was late on the West Coast at that point. But to me, she did mention some key things. Anna Jay sort of rejected the Mist. Willow Nightingale for sure rejected the Mist. But it seems Sky Blue has kind of embraced it to an extent. Now, Julia Hart tried to kind of fight it off when she got hit with it by Aleister Black unintentionally when she was the cheerleader for Griff and Brian Pillman Jr. And we saw what that developed into and where we are now with that character. So if that's a subtle little bit of detail storytelling when it comes to the Mist, I'm all for it. I think we should lean into that. See Sky Blue really embrace it. Maybe join up with Julia Hart. I don't know. That's just me. Sky Blue's new presentation hits. Instead of rocking the snapback, she takes it off, she stomps on it, and she puts a crown of what I could only describe as black roses on her head. Great triple threat. Julia Hart gets the win here after basically throwing Sky Blue out of the way and pinning Chris Statlander. So this feud between these 3, not over just yet, I don't think, but I'm so happy for Julia Hart. The youngest AEW women's champion history at 22 years old. Very well might be one of the youngest champions in AEW's history. So awesome. Props to her. Cannot wait to see what she does with that TBS championship. We know Tony Khan likes to make his announcements for the announcement, but this announcement was pretty clear-cut. AEW is going to be signing a blockbuster new talent to the roster. And a lot of speculation went out there. People were saying, it was Goldberg. People were saying, it was some of the WWE releases. People were saying it was Ronda Rousey. People were saying it was Mercedes Moné. People said it was Will Ospreay, and that is the one that I believed to be the most plausible. Now, we know he's still locked under contract with New Japan for a couple more months. That contract expires in January. He's got some dates to fulfill. But, ladies and gentlemen, Will Ospreay is all elite, bruv, and he is joining the crew. And Fightful, I believe, reporting that it is around a 3-year contract. So, time will tell what those next 3 years will look like in AEW with the GOAT, Will Ospreay, but I'm all for it. I'm excited to see what new matchups we can come up with. I thought he was going to sign with WWE. He still has the potential to do that in a couple of years if he were to leave or not re-sign with AEW. But for the moment, I think it makes all the sense in the world for him to sign with AEW. I also could have believed that he would sign with TNA because they're going through the whole new rebrand, coming back to Total Nonstop Action, in the new year. And if Will Ospreay signed with them, I figured he would be literally top guy, day one, company revolved around him. But going to AEW, very interesting. I'm excited to see what happens. So good luck, and let's see who his first rivalry will be in AEW when he formally comes over. A match that I can only describe as viewer discretion advised. So for the next couple minutes here on the Mouthing Off with Mike Wrestling Podcast, if you are not a fan of gore, if you are not a fan of Texas death matches, you're not a fan of blood, go ahead and skip past this here because we have to get into the Texas death match, the grudge match between Swerve Strickland. Yeah, I swerve when I drive against Hangman Adam Page. Now, Swerve gets a really cool entrance. Got some dancers doing the Prince Nana dance as he makes his way. You can see on his face, it is all business for Swerve Strickland, and it is definitely all business for Hangman Adam Page because he doesn't even get an entrance. We don't get any pyro. We don't get any music. That man beats it down to the ring and starts wallowing on Swerve Strickland, beating his ass up. Gets a staple gun, gets duct tape, starts stapling him. We get to a point in the match where Hangman Adam Page essentially pulls out his kid's artwork and starts stapling it to Swerve's face and body. My God, the beginning of this match was... Tony Schiavone even said it on commentary. It was not needed. But man, oh man, it was a bloodbath to start and it was a bloodbath to finish. Some of the things that we saw in this match, I don't think we've seen in a death match in AEW. Quite honestly, it's probably something you'd see maybe in New Japan, maybe on the Indies, maybe in GCW. But my God, what a Texas death match between these two men. Swerve gets the win. I was shocked. Ladies and gentlemen. I thought Hangman beat him the first time, but Swerve actually beat Hangman the first time they fought in Wrestle Dream. Swerve gets the win here. He's 2-0 against Hangman Adam Page, and he is a made guy, in my personal opinion. Get this man in the AEW World Title picture ASAP. ASAP, no doubt in my mind, after these two matches, this man proved that he eats, sleeps, breathes, and bleeds AEW. We got buckets of blood. We got a glass 450 splash where Swerve puts the glass on Hangman's back, hits a 450 splash on it. Absolutely brutal. We got a ton of barbed wire in this match, ladies and gentlemen. Hangman grabbed Swerve's head and just started drinking his blood and then spit it in the air. Absolutely made me queasy. It was not for the faint of heart, this match. We had a staple gun, I said, staple and artwork to Swerve. Chaos. Brian Cage came out. Prince Nana saves Swerve, gets him on his feet. Prince Nana goes through a table. There's a fall away slam through a barbed wire board. Carnage, chaos, brutality, blood, buckets of it. And Swerve gets the win after hanging the Hangman with a chain. My God, ladies and gentlemen, what a match. And the only way I can really convey, truthfully, my reaction for this match was during the match, I had to do it. I threw the old camera on, and I just ran a recording of the match going on, and just my genuine, true live reaction at parts of this match. So I'm going to drop that footage in here now. And then when we come back, we are going to touch on the Golden Jets taking on the Young Bucks. So stay tuned. And here's that footage of me reacting to a part of this death match, because my God, it was intense.
What the absolute fuck has this match been? They don't die. He just did a 450 splash on broken glass on the back of Hangman Adam Page. And it's not over. He's still kicked out.
Oh.
These guys are gonna kill each other tonight. Oh jeez. I mean, if the 450 with the broken glass doesn't do it, then we might as well get going into the fall-away slam through the barbed wire. Oh my God. They're going to kill each other. He's going to kill him.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh my God.
Not again. Oh my God, again.
Oh, it's got to be over now. The dead eye on the barbed wire. That's it. First of all, this might be the gnarliest Texas death match I've seen in AEW.
It definitely goes on my top list for gruesome matches.
Yeah, this has been... Oh, it's in his mouth. Oh my God. Oh, he's gonna go for the... He's gonna go for the buckshot with the barbed wire around the neck. Oh, fuck. That's it. It's over. That's it. It's over. It's over.
It's over.
2. That's 3. Oh, man, that's it. No, you're not getting up from that, honestly. I mean, but he got up from the broken glass splash, so...
I think Swerve is done. And
He pulled him. Nana saves a swerve when I drive. Oh, it's Brian Cage. Oh. Plot twists. Mobile Embassy.
No, I know, but why?
Because it's anything goes. So, I mean, you have to expect shenanigans.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. He just fucking destroyed him. He's going to hit him with the F fucking 10, whatever. What? Brian Cage, the MVP? I don't know.
That was my genuine and honest reaction to some of the match of that Texas death match between Swerve and Hangman Adam Page. And you even got some bonus reaction from my lovely girlfriend who was sitting right next to me, and also who's a big fan of horror movies and gore, also was like, damn, this is the most brutal match I've watched since, dating you. Absolute chaos. Once again, I'll reinforce that. And how do you follow that match up, ladies and gentlemen? The Golden Jets, Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, taking on the Young Bucks. They were in a tough spot here. They're sandwiched between that absolute 5-star, 20-star, whatever. Tell Dave Meltzer to get the star ratings. I give it, I don't even know, like, 6 gabagools at a 5 because like I just don't know what I saw. I have to go back and watch it. But like I'm a little queasy when it comes to that much blood, so I need a little time to process. As for the Golden Jets and the Young Bucks, there's a lot of layers here to this story. Some subtle jabs at the Young Bucks from Kenny Omega the last couple weeks, calling them children, kind of rehashing the things that, a certain CM Punk said in a press conference. The Young Bucks put their number 1 contendership on the line against the Golden Jets, and the Golden Jets put their tag team on the line here. So if the Bucks lose, they lose their opportunity at the tag titles. If the Golden Jets lose, Kenny and Chris can no longer tag team ever again in AEW. Interesting dynamic. The Young Bucks really becoming heels here. After low blowing Chris Jericho and their friend Kenny Omega in this match, Kenny finally has to do it and put his friends down for the win. The Golden Jets are now the new number 1 contenders to the AEW World Tag Team Championships, and it seems the Young Bucks have absolutely snapped. After the match, they're seen taking chairs, hitting the ring post with them. It's very, very interesting because I totally see this Bucks character edge that they're seeing transition to something really, really good. And they're leaning into, the fans booing them here and there. Now, it seems the Young Bucks are taking some time off TV when it comes to wrestling. It was posted by Brandon Cutler. Interesting, it coincides with the Chicago show for AEW. I'm not going to get into any sort of conspiracies there. My theory, though, my conspiracy is that what if the Young Bucks are involved in this devil group? I said it in the predictions. I'm going to double down on it. Just from this edge and how much that, they're starting to really show a disliking for teams and others in the company, storyline-wise, of course. Could they be involved with this devil group? Could they be part of the group that attacked Jay White? Part of the group that attacked the Acclaimed? I don't know. It's something very interesting. It could be nothing. It could be unrelated, but this new Young Bucks character we're seeing is definitely something that has my interest, and I'm definitely intrigued to see where it goes. I genuinely like the Young Bucks as talent. Whatever happened in the past backstage, it's none of my business. I'm not there. I can't speak for it. So, hey, it is what it is. Water under the bridge for me. They're cores to the company. The company has their team in it, the elite. So I can't see anything really coming out of this than maybe some sort of work storyline where maybe they turn on AEW, maybe they turn on their friends and they really get edgier and just, dastardly. Overall, good stuff here. Golden Jets get the win. Interesting to see if Kenny and Chris beat Big Bill and Ricky for the tag titles. That would also be a very interesting tag team dynamic. Those two have faced off. They've been feuds between the two of them. So to see them as a tag team, very, very interesting. Kenny even hints at possibly hitting the knee to Jericho, but he ends up hitting it on the Bucks. Good stuff here. Solid co-main event. After a Texas death match, I definitely needed a breather, so to speak, when it came to the show, because that was so much to process. And I'm glad that they followed here, because at the end of it, they really got the crowd invested back into the show after that match. And right in time for your main event, which is going to see Adam Cole defend MJF's title against Jay White. I'm going to break down what that means next. Last but certainly not least on the AEW Full Gear card is your main event of the evening that was originally planned to be MJF defend his title against the Bullet Club Gold's Jay White. Obviously, you heard me say in the beginning of this video / audio podcast that the Bullet Club's Gun Club took out MJF. He was stretched out, ambulanced out. So Adam Cole, right before Tony Schiavone is about to award Jay White the title earlier in the night, says that he will take Max's place. So here comes Adam Cole on crutches in his little air walking boot. He's going to defend MJF's title against Jay White. But that doesn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. Cue the sirens. MJF has committed a felony and he has stolen an ambulance. He is on his way back to the arena. We do, in fact, get the original main event, MJF minus one leg, which is severely injured, taking on Jay White for the World Championship. Now, to be honest, I don't think this match needed the whole overbooked injury, ambulance, super babyface, super Cena angle, hey, it worked. I don't think it was necessary. I think these two would have went out there and had a banger of a match. We don't get the reveal of the devil. So my theory buzzer's going off here, where maybe Adam Cole is the devil, because when the devil appears, Adam Cole is not there. When Adam Cole's there, the devil does not appear. So little thread there to keep a close eye on. Listen, solid main event. MJF doing all of the injured spots. This man is in a new level. He's on a new level. He's doing great things. I love MJF. He can do no wrong, in my personal opinion. This whole bidding war of 2024, I think it's pretty cut, clear, and dry. He will sign with AEW, and he will be the cornerstone with Will Ospreay, Jay White, and a few others for the future for AEW. As for the match, absolute insanity here. MJF hits an over-the-top rope cutter to the outside floor on one leg. He does a flying elbow from the top turnbuckle to the outside floor after a table spot does not go as planned. He puts Jay White on the announcer table. It collapses. Fans are laughing. So he does what any professional does, and he keeps the show rolling. He gets up on that turnbuckle, and he does the spot anyway, minus the table. So brutal spot here. After some help from Adam Cole, and which I thought was a little bit of a hindrance, telling MJF to do these moves, do the Panama Sunrise, do this, do that, and then not going to plan. Jay White countering them. Jay White lost to MJF on one leg. So very interesting dynamic there. The Guns get thrown out of the match early on, but they make an appearance later on. Lot of overdoing it here when it came to shenanigans, I would say. This reminded me very much of a WWE main event, to be honest. So very kind of in line with what you'd see maybe in a Roman Reigns title defense, with multiple people interrupting, weapons being brought into play. Jay White even hits MJF with the Ring of Honor tag title, and MJF still kicks out. Finally, after Adam Cole presents the Dynamite Diamond Ring and he gets it from Jay White, he hits Jay White with it. 1, 2, 3, retains his championship. And in the media scrum, he is very emotional. You can see his passion come through. I love MJF. I think MJF is the future of this business, the future of AEW. If he resigns, I would put that at 90%. He's resigning. Overall, really good stuff here from AEW, from Full Gear. All of these matches delivered for me. They all were different professional wrestling matches. Some of them sports entertainment, some of them hardcore deathmatch stuff. Some of it, over analyzed main event, when it came to the interruptions and the interference. All of these different elements are what make up professional wrestling on any given program, any given company. So you got a taste of everything. Everything. You got trios, you got ladder, you got death match, you've got clear and cut singles matches. You got everything you could ever ask for on a professional wrestling card. Spice of life, variety of life here for Full Gear. I loved it. I would give it a solid 8.4 out of 10. I would give it 4.7 gobble out of 5. I loved Full Gear. Has some serious rewatchability for me personally. I would go back and pick this up if I was bored, didn't have anything to watch. I would watch this pay-per-view, or at least some of the matches, particularly the death match, particularly that trios match that opened, the women's three-way, the Golden Jets tag team. A lot of matches had rewatchability here, and that's what you want from a really top-to-bottom great pay-per-view. It was well worth the $50 price point. Now we are on a crash course for World's End. We've got the Dynamite after Full Gear this Wednesday in Chicago, so that crowd is going to be chaotic. Could we see a devil reveal? Maybe. Could it be CM Punk? I don't think so, but anything can happen in professional wrestling. Personally, Full Gear so far, one of the best AEW pay-per-views this year for 2023. And now we have a lot of overarching stories happening. What's going on with the TBS Championship? What's up with Chris, Julia, and Sky? What's going on with MJF, Adam Cole, the Bullet Club Gold? What's going on with the Young Bucks? what's going to go happen here with Adam Copeland and his tag team partners. What's the story for Christian after that loss and him running out of the arena? So many different elements. What's going to happen with the introduction of the Continental Classic Tournament starting this Wednesday on Dynamite? I'm excited. AEW's bringing the hype back into itself. They've pumped it with some electricity. Things are moving forward. I love what we've got going on. I'm invested. You should be too. Mouth off with me on social media at MOWM_podcast. What did you think of AEW Full Gear? What was your favorite match? Leave it here in the comment section of this video or hit me up on the social medias, whatever your preference is. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more fun content like this. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back next week with all of the festivities for Survivor Series weekend and, of course, my AEW recap show, which will recap this past coming week. We'll see for AEW and the fallout from Full Gear. So stay tuned to the audio side of the show. Stay tuned to the video side of the show. Stay tuned to my socials. Go out there and enjoy some professional wrestling from your host here at the Mouthing Off with Mike Wrestling podcast. I'm signing off. Have a good week. Let's go out there and enjoy this week of wrestling.
Mike mouthing off. Mike mouthing off. Mike.
I lost my breath just listening to that.
Mike mouthing off.